Okay, it's 4 o'clock on Thursday, February 13th. We have a quorum, so I'll call this library board meeting to order. First item up is the approval of the agenda, which is shown on everyone's tablets in front of them. So I will make a motion to approve the agenda as printed. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any changes, Paulina?
No.
Good to go on that? Okay, so anybody else have any changes or additions they need to make? All right, hearing none, then all in favor of approving the agenda as shown, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Second item is the approval of the minutes from the January 9th, 2020 library board meeting, which are printed out here, and then hopefully everyone's had a chance to review them or preview them before the meeting today. So I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 9th, 2020 meeting.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Any corrections, additions? Okay, hearing none, then all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Now we'll jump into the financial report. We got two of them today. One was the wrap-up of 2019, which will be the December 2019 financial report, and then we'll also get an update as to for the first month of 2020. So, Paulina?
Okay, so we are 100% through 2019, and our budget is approximately 85.92% expended. There are still a couple of journal entries left for the year, including the payroll accrual, so the numbers are not final, but for the most part, everything else within expenditures are pretty much set for the year.
So if you factor that in, how much will that jump it up to?
To be honest, I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I did talk to the finance director, and I did not get a number yet.
Okay, so do you know if they're big, small?
Relatively, yeah. No, not sure.
You still expect to stay underneath the
Yes.
100% though,
Oh,
correct?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And then as for 2020, we are 9.56% through January, and our budget is approximately 8.34% expended. We had some contractual maintenance equipment bills, including our quarterly bill to Minnesota Elevator, and the yearly support for the self-hosting we do on LibData, the software that we use on the patron computers for time and print management. We also had subscription and membership bills to Star Tribune, Sleepy Eye Herald, and the Minnesota History magazine.
So we pay the elevator contractual maintenance quarterly?
Yes.
How often do they come out?
Quarterly.
Oh, they come out quarterly too to,
Yes.
to give it the once over?
Yes.
And okay, well, that's good. All right, any questions on the budget items? Either the 2019 wrap-up one or the 2020? All right, then we'll move on to the librarian's report.
Okay.
We'll start with the statistics and the activities report.
Okay. Sorry, snack. Oh, there we go. It wasn't coming up for me. Let's see. So United Way just started our free tax preparation at the library on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They started this week, and I think it's going pretty well for the most part. They have had some equipment upgrades this year, so it's a little bit, it's a learning curve for them. Let me see. Otherwise, statistics look pretty standard for the month. Our overdrive circulation is definitely still going up. Computer usage is a little down, but it's been a little bit colder, so that's to be expected. The wiring project did finally complete last week. The fellows from CTS completed all the work. They ran into, they deviated some of the wiring they were meant to do on the second floor. They weren't able to complete it. They were having issues getting to the old routes and things like that. But in the future, when if we do anything different up on the second floor, we'll take a look at the needs we need in terms of wiring more outlets and Wi-Fi. I talked with the city IT director about that. So that's something in the future, but otherwise everything else is complete.
So you're talking like if we do any remodeling or anything like that?
If we needed more, there is an access point up there, but we were hoping to add another one up there, and they were just not able to get the Cat 6 up there that they anticipated for both spots. So there's just one, and everything else was left. They upgraded it a little bit, but not to the standard that they were hoping to.
But you don't see that as being a problem then?
No, not at the moment, no. And then a couple of other things. So on January 16th, we discovered a Chromebox laptop computer was taken by someone who tore off the locking cable. We reported it to the police the next morning. It's valued at about $150. It was losing charge. It's an older one, so it was about 2 years old or so. And we locked it down once we discovered it was missing, so that whoever took it, there's no ability for them to get past our administrative things. It was just locked down to the catalog as well. And we have not replaced it yet. We're going to see whether or not we should do a different solution in terms of what kind of catalog laptop that is. I talked with our IT director, with the city's IT director, and the ones we are using, we're not able to get a Kensington lock in there, and he recommends that. And the way we had it adhered, it was pretty tight on there, but they somehow chiseled it off. So I haven't come up with a solution in terms of what kind of laptop to put up there yet, or to replace it with. And then last week on the February 5th, we discovered that a book bag, book club tote bag was missing. So someone took all the books out and took the took the bag. It was only just the bag. I guess they're very popular, I guess. But so those are located on our, so the laptop disappeared from the second floor. The book bags are on in fiction downstairs. It's only worth probably about $5 or $10, somewhere in between there. So I did not report that to the police department, but just something to be aware.
So aren't the book club books and stuff, aren't they usually stored behind the desks?
No, not the big one, not the book group. These are like the totes we have with like 10 copies of books within the library, not like the ones we request for the book groups.
Oh.
No, yeah, they're different. They're just if someone had like a group they met with out in the community and they were interested in one of the titles that we have. So they're just along like the S to Z's downstairs, like along the bottom. We have, I don't know how many we have, maybe
15, 20.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Some other things that weren't actually included in the packet. There was a bit of a plot twist in regards to our courier selection. The company that was in the running and that was selected, Gold Cross, decided to close their Mankato office in the late fourth quarter of 2019, and they were no longer in a position to accept the work. So the executive director at Traverse du Sioux was able to negotiate down to a 0% increase with our current Courier Service Alliance. So the contract with them has been extended through the end of January 31st, 2021. So we'll be continuing service with them. And
Alliance, the one that was 5 days a week, and then the other one was only
Yes.
going to be like 3 days a week?
yes, for most, but she did. The executive director was able to negotiate. She was planning on including New Ulm with MLC's
Right.
delivery for 5 days. Yeah. So the courier portion of our fees for the year are $6,218, and that's part of our TDS fees. So that shouldn't change from last year. And a couple of different updates. So we currently have 2 RFQs out, one for the children's room painting and the other for flooring installation of carpeting on the first floor. I believe we've received a few painting quotes already, and our youth services librarian has those. And 2 flooring vendors are scheduled to come in next week to take a look, and then we had one come in today. So that might be on the agenda for next month.
So who do you got coming in or looking to quote?
I sent it out to 4 vendors, and then we made it public on the website.
Okay.
So next week we have Design Home Center coming in, and Hiller, and today New Ulm Furniture came in.
So is Pullman gonna?
I don't know. A quote was sent to them.
Okay.
Or the RFQ was sent to them, yes. And then early yesterday morning, we discovered that the motor on the HVAC unit in children's is out. So the maintenance technician has one on order, and it should be here at the earliest tomorrow. So that might be in our bills coming up. Otherwise, I can and if I can skip over down to our staffing update. We have a new library aide, Rachel Knudsen, who starts on Tuesday, February 18th. And a new programming and technology services librarian, Leroy Tanner, starts on Monday, March 2nd.
Tell us about Leroy. Where is he from?
He's worked at St. John's, Arizona for the last 5 years. He was an interim branch manager at one point. I believe he's from Wisconsin. He's lived in Minnesota before, and has family in St. Peter.
Oh, okay. All right, any additional questions then for Paulina? All right, then we'll jump into the programming. April?
The Minnesota Valley Civil War Roundtable will screen Gettysburg: The Last Full Measure at its Tuesday, February 18th at 6:30 p.m. meeting. The film is a production of Lou Rita Films. Thank you to them for giving us permission to do a public screening. And it also includes commentary from historian Bruce Catton. The disc itself was donated by Denny Warda, so thank you to him for the donation. The Wednesday Wonder Club will meet at 3:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 19th. Each month, the club will explore a different scientific principle through hands-on experiments. So some architecture with marshmallows and spaghetti, those kind of things. And that's open to kids in grades 2nd through 4th. Registration is required. You can call the library at 507-359-8331 to register. The NARN will visit the library on Saturday, February 22nd at 10 a.m. They'll show off their characters and hand-carved wood masks, and they'll also introduce the Fasching celebration. Kids will have a chance to make a Fasching-themed craft at the party. Vocalogist, professional performer, voice coach, and author Nancy Bose will present Finding Your Voice at New Ulm Public Library on Monday, February 24th at 6:30 p.m. In this session, she'll explore the relationship of our emotions and health to our physical voice for speaking and singing. She'll also be presenting Singing Through Change, Serving Women in Midlife and Beyond to Castle members at the New Ulm Community Center at 1:30 p.m. on Monday, February 24th. So the Castle session is just for Castle members, but the session at the library at 6:30 p.m. on the 24th is open to all. DNR naturalist Scott Kadelka and Riverside Nature Learning Center curator Ron Bolden will present Wildlife at the library on Tuesday, February 25th at 6:30 p.m. Attendees will learn about Minnesota wildlife and have the chance to examine pelts, bones, and artifacts, and that's a free all-ages program. I'd be happy to answer any questions about programming.
All right, thanks. So we got through everything in the librarian's report then. Is that correct, Pauline?
Yes.
We're ready to move on then? Okay. Jump into the action items. The first one is Resolution 2020-02, accepting the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund legacy grants for programs. In January 2020, the library was awarded Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund legacy grants in the amount of $1,100 for the musical artist Elisa Karen, $2,500 for the Imagination Library author Sarvinder Neighborhouse, and $1,800 for the musical group Jolly Pops. On Thursday, April 23rd at 1:30 p.m., New Ulm Public Library, in partnership with New Ulm Community and Seniors Together Learning, will host Karen's performance of Madams, Matrons, and Madwomen, Extraordinary Women in American History. The concert features extraordinary women including Victoria Woodhull, the 19th century proponent of free love and first woman to run for president, the Hormel Girls musical group, and many others. The performance highlights Minnesotans Maria Blaisdell, the infamous Minnesota Blizzard, Sister Lumberjack, nun character and one of the first people to sell health insurance, and Rachel Kaloff, mail-order bride who settled in Minnesota. On Thursday, April 23rd at 6:30 p.m., New Ulm Public Library will host Karen's workshop titled Making Local History Come Alive Through Character Writing. Karen will teach attendees how to create engaging and lifelike characters in their family or local history writing. In collaboration with Springfield Public Library and the United Way of Brown County area, New Ulm Public Library will host Imagination Library author Sarvinder Neighborhouse on Thursday, May 7th, who will present on her children's book, Blue Sky, White Stars, a patriotic tribute to the beauty of the American flag, a symbol of America's history, landscape, and people. Neighborhouse will present a program at Springfield Public Library on Friday, May 8th. In partnership with Springfield Public Library, Dickman Free Library, and New Ulm Park and Recreation, the New Ulm Public Library will host the Jolly Pops in New Ulm's German Park as part of the Summer Concert in the Park series on Monday, June 8th at 7 p.m. The Jolly Pops combine upbeat original music with a host of children's standards for a concert to please both kids and adults. They will perform at Springfield Public Library on June 8th at 10 a.m. and Dickman Free Library on June 8th at 1 p.m. So I will accept a motion to accept the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund legacy grants that we just read about.
I so move.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, not hearing any, then all in favor of accepting the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund legacy grants, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Second resolution is a first reading only, and it's approving the updates to circulation policy and library card application and adoption of an organizational library card application. The circulation policy was last reviewed in 2015. The policy needs to be updated to reflect the library's new fine-free status. Stated language has been included that a library card or proof of identification must be presented to check out materials from the library. The library card application has not been reviewed since 2010. The updates are to streamline and make the application easy to use. Included in the policy is a new paragraph regarding organizational library cards. Enclosed is a new application to be adopted. There has been interest from local organizations for library cards to be used at workplaces. Several libraries in the Traverse to Sioux Library Cooperative issue organizational library cards. This application is the means to hold the applying organization responsible for material contacts checked out under the organization. Attached is a copy of the updated policy with deleted material and added material noted, as well as the library card application and organizational library card application. These changes are recommended by the library director and the assistant library director and have been reviewed by the city attorney. I'm not going to read through all these because they're lengthy, but I would encourage all of you to look through them because this is the first reading, so they'll be out for the next month, and then they'll be put on the website and all that stuff too for any feedback. So next month when we come for the second reading and approval, if there's any changes or anything that you see need to be made or any questions that you have, please come at that time with all those. One of the things, I read through them already, one of the things I had was on library cards. It said that Patrons under the age of 16 must have a parent or legal guardian present to obtain a library card. And then, so I'm assuming that those over 16 can get their own card provided they have a picture ID.
Yes.
So I asked April about, well, if they're over 16 but they don't have their driver's license yet, then it reverts back to the parent or legal guardian to be present in order for them to retain a library card. So I got some clarification on that. And then I also asked about, because we are fine-free now, under the overdue service charges, there was a line that said library items that have not been returned 2 weeks after their due date will be billed to the patron's account. So it puts it in that kind of status, but it's a temporary status so that if they do eventually return it,
Right.
they will not be fined, and then that charge or the bill to their account will be removed.
Yes.
But they will then, April indicated that once that 2 weeks has been reached, then they get sent a bill indicating that, okay, here's what the cost of a lost item is, and that maybe will spur them to
Return it
return
faster.
the item.
Yeah. Yeah. We're currently, before we were fine free, it was 30 days. If you didn't return something, then the item would be billed.
Okay.
Obviously with the overdue fines. Yeah.
And after the due date, April and I were discussing this because there's automatic renewals if the books are not on hold. So it could be up to 3 months, because they could be
Right.
automatically renewed. You said 3 times?
Yeah.
Twice.
Oh, twice. So a
Yeah.
total of 9 weeks.
9 weeks. Yeah.
And then the 2 weeks after that, so it's almost 3 months.
Right.
That it could be before they get the item billed to their account. All right. So, like I said, next month we'll have the second reading and adoption for that one. Now we'll move on to resolution 2020.
Vince,
Yeah.
Paulina, Margaret did ask if we could bring some statistics to maybe one of our next meetings about the length of time people are checking things out to see if this has made any difference
Oh, sure.
between being fine-free and not being fine-free.
Okay.
In terms of what, how long they hold on to them, or
Right.
Okay.
Oh, after the due date.
Just after the due date,
okay.
how long people are actually keeping the books. I know I have a tendency to keep them longer now because I know I don't have to return them as quickly.
But you don't plan to keep on them forever.
No, I don't keep them forever. As far as, no, I do not.
But you're so close to finishing it that
I
oh, a
know,
couple more
right.
days.
I'm just kind of curious if we have some statistics there that's telling us how long people are holding on to books.
I can check it to see if that's a report we can run. Yeah, I
I
know
would
I've
think
noticed from
somewhere.
checking items in some warnings, DVDs. There's like an extra 3 days sometimes, or for books. I haven't really noticed, but I can
Okay.
see if that's something we can pull.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be interesting.
I was gonna ask a similar question to that too. What have we been on this now, about 6 months roughly,
For
for the fine-free?
Fine Freeze just started this year. We
Oh,
were
just
half
started
price,
this year,
half price
okay.
last year. Yeah.
So we're not gonna have much yet then, I don't think. I
right.
suppose it's only been a month.
But we had the automatic renewal start
Before,
back
yeah.
in March or April of last
Yeah.
year.
Or even before, I
Maybe
think.
even
Yeah,
before
like
that.
around, yeah, the fall, I think, of
Was it? Okay.
2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'd just be interesting to see if people are holding on to those books longer. We had a long list of people who, and I know that if the book is on the hot list, you don't get to renew it. I was just curious as to, are we seeing a longer,
Wait time.
well,
Yeah.
just a longer time that people hold on to the books?
Okay,
So I
can
think
check.
because there's only 1 month out, if we don't see much, bring it back a couple times here, 3, 6 months intervals or something like that.
Okay. All right. I'll move on to the next resolution, 2020-04, accepting the Traverse des Sioux Library Cooperative's ILS Code of Conduct. Traverse des Sioux TDS member libraries which use the Shared Integrated Library System ILS have agreed as part of their signed shared automation contract document to comply with the relevant standards and procedures set and adopted by the Advisory Council of Member Library Directors. As member libraries of TDS, our objective is to work cooperatively to benefit our library patrons. In order to maintain optimal and efficient service, we utilize a shared region-wide ILS. The following code of conduct is expected and required of all member libraries participating in the ILS. This document will be reviewed annually at the first meeting of the Advisory Council of Member Library Directors. The TDS Board of Directors asks that each library on the shared ILS acknowledge reading the code of conduct adopted by the member libraries. This written code of conduct replaces years of verbal discussions, generally accepted practices, and historical assumptions. It is a foundational document that will allow the member libraries and TDS office staff to work better together. And then the signing version is included there. Basically, it's laid out pretty easy to read. I'm not going to read through it, but it indicates all the major categories in bold print, and then with a little description behind it. And then it says afterwards, dear library directors and boards, TDS member libraries on the shared ILS have agreed as part of their signed shared automation contract document to comply with relevant standards and procedures set and adopted by the Advisory Council of Member Library Directors. As member libraries of TDS, our objective is to work cooperatively to benefit our library patrons, and in order to maintain optimal and efficient service, we utilize a shared regional ILS. And the following code of conduct is expected to be followed by all the member libraries. And then basically it's signed by the library director and the library board chair. So I will accept a motion where we accept the Traverse de Sioux Libraries Cooperative ILS Code of Conduct.
I so move.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Pretty straightforward. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now on to Resolution 2020-05, approving change order to the technical upgrade in the meeting room. Project manager from Tierney Brothers was in contact for a change order for the project. Their design was based on the published specifications of an OFE Blackmagic production switch to the projector that projects the image back to Newcat's office. This was not occurring. According to Tierney, the specifications are incorrect on the hardware. They need to make adjustments for communication between equipment, and it does not fall under their original quote. They suggested a scaler to finish the project. In consultation with Newcat, a converter should also resolve the problem. So enclosed are two quotes, both from the Tierney brothers. One's for a HDMI to HDMI scaler for about $1,180, and the other one's for a Blackmagic design up-down cross HD for about $860. The project cost is being split evenly with Newcat, and the library is utilizing the fund balance for its share. Both options should be the solution to the issue according to Newcat and the city IT director, and because of that, they would suggest the less expensive option. So, I would entertain a motion to approve the change order as shown here, and then we'll determine which one we want to go with. It looks like the recommendation is to go with the less expensive Blackmagic design, up-down cross HD option.
With the Newcat Consulting, they suggested a converter should also resolve the problem. Is that?
That's the up-down cross HD.
Okay,
That's the
good.
Blackmagic design.
Thank you.
So it's a lot of techno information in here.
It was a little more technical. April helped me pare it down.
Yeah, what they're trying to do
Yeah.
is when Newcat films a presentation in the meeting room and the presenter has a PowerPoint or a video displaying, instead of filming the screen that it's being displayed on in the room, Newcat can tap into that feed so it's more seamless with their presentation, and so this would allow them to do that.
So then they can bounce back and forth between the presentation and the presenter kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. So, again, I'll entertain a motion to accept the Blackmagic design change order.
So move. Or I'll
Second.
make the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We
Yeah,
can really
is
get.
The only question I would have would be, long run? Couple years out, however long these things last, doesn't make any difference.
It's one of those things that I've learned from
Don't believe so.
working at 3M. As soon as you install it, thing's outdated.
It's
So
outdated.
it's really not. I don't think longevity is an issue with a lot of these technical things.
Don't
So
tell us
then-
that.
With that being said, then you automatically go for the least expensive option then.
Provided it'll work.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And it sounds like from both the new cat and the city IT director that it will work. So
Mm-hmm.
we're
What
going on
would
the
happen
recommendation.
for some reason if it wouldn't work?
So, if this isn't the solution, I did ask them what the next steps were, and they said they, based on their understanding of the issue, this would be a resolution, but if for some reason it wouldn't work, they would determine next steps. They said if it's an HDCP issue, then they wouldn't have an alternate solution, because they can't strip off the HDC without, breaking the law, so there's some networking kind of broadcast issues. But otherwise, I think New Cat and the IT director are both confident that Black Magic would work.
And then we can, I'm sure if it doesn't work, we'll work with the Tierney brothers. We'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Hopefully get a full credit and then
Mm-hmm.
work on the next
Right.
steps.
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so then, all in favor of approving the change order by going with the Black Magic Design up, down, cross HD converter, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Any other business?
Nope.
Anybody? All right, then we'll adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you can make the game on.